Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you to the first ever episode of the Halftime Adjustment. My name just so happens to be Jay the Reporter. And just to kind of let you guys know what you're going to get from the Halftime Adjustment. You're going to get sports, point blank, period, cut. Like, that's what you're going to get. And it's going to be an unbiased opinion. You're not going to get me only picking my favorite teams, which I could list those off for you just so you know. Steelers, Bulls, Red Sox, Tar Heels in basketball, Seminoles in college football. I will go into hockey, but I'm not really going to cover that, even though that team is the Dallas Stars. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I do have a J degree from the illustrious Winston-Salem State University. And that's probably all we're going to really get into when it comes down to that. Just kind of going right into the big news of the hour. Clearly talking about Kobe Bryant and his untimely passing, the loss of his daughter, just a shock to the system, shock to the family. You really don't know exactly what loss is until it happens to you and it's unexpected. I can remember back when I was in college, sophomore year, I think it was, my sophomore year. I had two uncles pass, like back to back. Boom, boom, no time to recover from any of it. And that rocked me to my core. I wasn't the same student. I wasn't the same friend, at least not for a good period of time. I was kind of cut off. One but a few people I would let really get near me. But what really kind of wrote me in was my family. In this situation, this is a loss of a father, a leader in his community, a pillar in his family, a husband, and also a daughter, an older sister. I mean, we're talking 2 levels of leadership in the family gone. Just like that. And as I'm perusing the internet, I'm looking at guys' reactions like Skip Bayless, and I'm listening to my absolute favorite person in sports, and Colin Cowherd. Love Colin and his take on everything because he doesn't waver. Listening to how they responded, it was what I would expect to hear. But what I wasn't expecting was, while I was digging in and doing some more research and just listening to what people were saying, was the negatives that I was hearing. Or, well, we remember what happened in Denver, or we remember what happened between him and Shaq, or we remember, to me, the dumbest one I heard all day long, and honestly, it pissed me off. When I heard one woman literally celebrating the fact that this man has passed, and the reason it was because he didn't marry a black woman, that sent me over the edge when it comes down to it. Can you imagine if your entire life has come down and to be summarized down to one action that you did that someone didn't like? Imagine if you can do every day of your life, you live it and you have a positive impact on everyone around you. But yet, one thing that you did in your life, this person didn't like, and now all they're going to do is slander your name every day because of it. You have to be a special kind of scum to do someone like that. Literal hours after his passing, I'm coming across things like this. This was a blow, not just to sports. And I heard people say, man, he just dribbles a basketball. I'm like, okay, what is one of your favorite things? What's an artist that you grew up listening to? You grew up with this artist. Their first album dropped when you were like 10, 11. You became a fan. Now you're in your early 30s, probably late 30s. You look at that person like a legend. That is how, as a sports fan, I look at Kobe Bean Bryant. Am I a Laker fan? No. Clearly, I already stated who my favorite basketball team was, in the Chicago Bulls. like I said, was I a Laker fan? No. But can I appreciate greatness? Yes, I can. Now, as I said before in a YouTube video, I didn't grow up. I did kind of grow up with Michael, but I was 10 when he retired from the Bulls in 98. So I had knowledge of what he'd done. I saw some of his later games, but the game in the Boston Garden, I didn't watch that game. I can't remember the 91 finals, the 92 finals, the 93 finals. I don't remember him taking at bats in Birmingham. I don't remember. I can remember 96, the 10-loss team. I can remember 97 a little bit. I remember the finals. I remember the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't really tell you who else they played just off the top of my mind because it didn't etch in. The memories weren't set. I was a young child. I was 9 years old when that happened. 98, I was 10. But in 1996, Kobe Bryant was drafted 13th overall. Charlotte Hornets. Traded for Vlade Divac. He goes out there to L.A. teaming up with Shaq. Coming off the bench behind someone who you probably don't even remember in Eddie Jones. He takes that starting role. I want to say it was in 98. And you can see the hunger. And like I said, and I'm watching him from 98 to 2016. He was the player who got us over the gap not having Jordan. Because everyone said, what's the NBA going to do? There's no star. There's no focal point. There's no, like, Chicago was the epicenter at that point. Now you turn back and you look at this. Kobe Bryant carried the NBA until they got LeBron. And even when they got LeBron, he said, I'm going to wait for LeBron to become LeBron. But while he's doing that, let me show you what a king can do. He goes off, wins 2 more in his final game, drops 60 on 50 shots, which you don't get no more Kobe than that. I mean, we've seen the memes, the LeBron meme with the controller has buttons and knobs, screws, and pulleys all over the place. And they gave Kobe the Atari joystick with the one button. It just said shoot. That was what he was on that night, and it put the biggest smile on my face. He did it in a win over the Utah Jazz, which notably had one of his worst games against with all the air balls, and I want to say that was in the playoffs too, in a series-ending game as well. But the following year they did win the title, which showed the growth and maturity in the man's game. But to sit back and literally hear people trashing this man simply because he made a life decision that you didn't agree with. All of a sudden, he's the worst thing ever. I seriously doubt that. So just to kind of give you guys a little gist of what's coming up here. I'm also going to be bringing up a little bit about the Super Bowl in the second half of the show. Typically, the show is going to be around 30 minutes. So I'm going to hit you off with a little bit of that. But to just kind of put a good bow on this opening segment, when someone like this passes, it's never going to be easy. Even if you're not a fan of the team, fan of the player, but you could be a fan of greatness without necessarily having to care much about the sport. For example, when the news broke, I was at a funeral with my fiance. It was a sad occasion, yet a joyous one, because we were celebrating life. And then my phone starts buzzing and going off. I'm like, what in the world is going on? I pick up my phone and all I see is Bleacher Report, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, ESPN. Then it hit me with CNN, ABC, Fox. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Come to find out about Kobe. And then it hit. The world lost a legend, yes. But one thing I don't want anyone to gloss over. We lost more than a legend. There was a husband on that aircraft. There was a daughter on that aircraft. There were sets of parents and children on that aircraft. And for anyone to literally belittle the loss of life to that extent, you will never deserve my sympathy. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. There is a aching community out there. I've grown up knowing of Laker fans. One of my older cousins is the biggest Laker fan I have ever seen. He sat there one day and told me that he liked Eldon Campbell. Only a Laker fan would tell you something like that. But I will also tell you this. We saw the growth of a man from age 17 to 41, growing up on camera in front of us, going from being stoic and kind of aloof to someone who just wanted to engage in smart conversation. Can we just take some time to appreciate that? Coming up, like I said, on the second half of the show, is going to be my pick for the NFL Super Bowl, as well as just a couple more wrap-ups, and honestly what my take's going to be on that game, and why I think this may be the best Super Bowl matchup we've had probably since Patriots-Seahawks. But we'll get back to you all very shortly. Until then, enjoy this docile tone. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to talk about the one thing I love more than almost anything other than drawing breath, and that is the NFL. And not just the NFL, but try the one game that everyone wants to play in, the one trophy everyone wants to lift. And the two teams we got facing off in this one, of course, are the Kansas City Chiefs and their explosive offense, and then the San Francisco 49ers and that suffocating defense. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh man, the quarterback matchup is so one-sided. And that would be true. It is one-sided, but not as one-sided as the AFC title game was, because this is a quarterback, and I was saying in conversation with some people that I work with and just in general, if I have a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, I can trust him to drop back 20, 25 times and deliver the ball. I also know that if I have a running game that is just chewing up the yardage like cheap bubble gum, I'm going to keep giving them the rock. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want me to make my pick, and that's coming. But can we just appreciate the postseason for what it was worth? I mean, we saw Derrick Henry become a perennial superstar over the course of 3 games. 4 if you count week 17. But we saw that sometimes you can actually still win playing old school football. Running the ball, playing good defense. It's proven that it can actually get the job done, even in today's NFL where everyone is super pass happy, just throwing the ball all over the lot. Now, am I a little disappointed that we're not getting a Ravens-49ers rematch? Even as a Steelers fan, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. I would have loved to have seen Lamar get out there and do his thing, but it just wasn't in the cards, at least not this year. But given his play style, that may be a shorter window than what most would like. Now, the matchup we got, I believe, couldn't have been any better than this. You have the best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, going against the best defense, in my opinion, in the NFL, in the San Francisco 49ers. Now, before people light me up and say, but the Niners, man, they had everyone I talked to said, oh, they had that one bad loss. You can't excuse what happened with Atlanta. I'm like, well, Atlanta was also on a tiny bit of a tear where they won 3 straight divisional games, and then 2 weeks after that, pull off a stunner and beat San Francisco. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it can't happen on any given Sunday when we all know that it can happen on any given Sunday. Now, this is literally strength on strength, offense versus defense. Just looking at the numbers, Kansas City's numbers, and just these are averages. Of course, Kansas City will have more yardage than these other two teams, but they're third in total yards per game this postseason at 419. The Ravens at 530 and the Buffalo Bills at 425 are ahead of them respectively. But then you go to the defensive side of the ball. The San Francisco 49ers were the best in that category by over 20 yards. By pretty much 20 yards. 252.5. And New England pulling in at number 2 at 272. Then you get to passing yardage per game. Oh, lo and behold, Kansas City is right there again. 304. But when you get to rushing the football, don't turn around and handing it off, there's a reason why San Francisco's here, ladies and gentlemen. They averaged 235.5 yards a game running this football. So that means if you want to go ahead and compare quarterbacks, by all means, please do. But what they're doing is that their defense is fresh the entire game. Keep in mind, they're only giving up 250. They are running for dang near the same amount, which means they are controlling the ball. What's the best way to keep a good quarterback at bay? You run the football. You control the clock. You do what the New York Giants did to the New England Patriots. You do that. You run the ball. You control the clock. You keep yourself in this game as long as possible. You don't give Jesus with a golden arm the football back. You don't give him that ball. You hold on to it as long as you can. Keep him on the sidelines. It's just like when you're playing against Peyton Manning in his heyday. The best defense against Peyton Manning was a team that could run the football. The best defense against Kansas City is a team that can run the football. Now, another thing is going to kind of come down to is going to be who can force the other team to make mistakes. And when you go back to the conference title games, the respective title games, I seriously believe if Kansas City makes those same mistakes that they made against Tennessee, San Francisco will probably run away with this game. You cannot have the mental errors that Kansas City had in that game and think you're going to be able to come back against a team that's just as explosive as you are. Because the last thing you want to do is get put in a situation that Baltimore got put in against Tennessee, where you're going to play against a team, you mess around a little bit too early, you turn the ball over a few times, or you don't convert, or you don't score, and now you're looking up at them as 14-0, and these aren't the Tennessee Titans. These are not the Houston Texans. This San Francisco 49ers team is for real. And if they get the chance to pin their ears back and bring more heat than a summer day, I'm telling you, they're going to do it, and you're not going to like the outcome. If you want to see Kansas City hoist this Lombardi Trophy, they're going to need to step up mentally. They got talent for days. Mentally, they have to step up. Going over to San Francisco, they lead in every major defensive category: yards, sacks, turnovers. They are one or tied for one in each of those categories. So you know what that tells me? This is a strong attacking defense that is sure of itself and its skill. There's no way around it. This team may not have the sexiest names, but I'm going to tell you what they do have. 2 of the top 5 rushers in the postseason. They have one of the sack leaders. Kansas City does as well. They have the interception leader. And of course, given the fact that they've only thrown the ball, well, I think it was less than 30 times over 2 games, they're not going to have a single leading receiver. But I'll tell you what they do have is guys who are willing to get out there and block for a guy like Tevin Coleman, who's now, if I'm not mistaken, in his 2nd Super Bowl, and Raheem Mostert, who is literally showing everyone that even if you got your dream denied 6 times, even once by the Miami Dolphins, that as long as you stay hungry, you can reap the rewards. Trust me, someone's going to get that guy a fat contract. But I will tell you this. With everything, everyone's kind of tilting in Kansas City's favor because they say it's quarterback. You got to go with the team with the better quarterback. It's been a very long time since the team with the better quarterback has won the Super Bowl. Typically, the team with the better defense wins the Super Bowl. I think last year's game was kind of the anomaly, but it also proves my point. Did the better quarterback win the matchup? Yes. But did the better defense, see what I did there? Did the better defense win that matchup? And I'm going to go with yes. So, if you want to know the pick, here it is. I got San Francisco over Kansas City. Score, I'm going to go 28-24 San Francisco. And I go that way simply because typically in the Super Bowl, team with a better defense wins, because it's easier for a defense to come out off of a 2-week break than it is for an offense to come off of a 2-week break. Because the offense has to get going. There's momentum. There's chemistry. There are things that you kind of got to establish. If the object of my team is to run this football, I don't have to establish a rhythm. I just got to be like, hey, don't drop this ball and let these guys fire off the line. So that's typically what you're looking at there. Now, when I'm picking teams for wins and who's going to win what matchups, I'm literally telling you, just the eye test alone, I believe San Francisco is just better top to bottom. Defense, got it. Offense, it's pretty much break even. Just pick what you like. If you like a team that runs the ball, go San Francisco. If you like a team that passes the ball, go Kansas City. I like teams that run the football, that are tough, that are hard-nosed, aggressive. I mean, they've proven they can beat a team that plays finesse. Green Bay is nothing but the NFC's version of Kansas City. Led by, outside of, having more talent at certain positions, but their play styles are super similar. San Francisco's already played this team in likeness. I seriously do believe San Francisco is going to come into this game just a little bit better prepared. And that's even with Andy Reid on that other sideline. I just don't like picking against a Shanahan in the Super Bowl. Because to my knowledge, I don't think a Shanahan has lost a Super Bowl. Come to think of it. But that's just my pick. That's who I'm rolling with. That's who I'm going to go with. I'm putting my chips down right there. Now, just to kind of thank the people who need to be thanked as I wrap this bad boy up. Shouts out to the team at Good Money. Looking out for me with the intro breaks and things like that. Also, shouts out to T.A.G, but specifically my big sister, Kia. Love you so much. Thank you for all of the help and support as we got this thing off the ground. There's a lot of good things to come. And please subscribe to those two as well. Good Money, that's Good, and Money, MUNNY, and T.A.G, also known as That Awesome Group. Both of those can be found on your streaming platform and known as YouTube. And also, do not forget to hit up this YouTube page. You're listening to me, you might as well go ahead and hit us up. Just go right there. It is the Halftime Adjustment, spelled out exactly the way you would believe it to be spelled. No special spellings, nothing like that. It's the Halftime Adjustment. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram with the same moniker. You'll be seeing us post some memes that I believe are kind of funny and sports related. And also, you'll probably get some more quick quips, little inside the mind of me kind of things with breaking news and things like that. It's a little bit easier to do it from, the phone than it is to do it right here in studio. But I do want to thank everyone for the support. This is going to be a great journey. I'm just glad you're here taking the first step with us. My name is Jay the Reporter, and I am signing out. Love, live your life, y'all.